Well, it's always a great Friday when Mike gets to spin the wheel of shame, so you'll catch that on today's episode.
No, it's not.
You also have all of the rest of the Week 11 matchups, some big-time news, including news on Elijah Mitchell and what we think Jeff Wilson can do this week.
My name is Jeff.
Oh, man. And, well, enjoy the show.
As fall transitions to winter, there is nothing better than cozying up with a comforting home-cooked meal, especially when HelloFresh makes it so easy. Get up to 14 free meals plus 3 free gifts with code FOOTBALLERS14 at HelloFresh.com/footballers14.
FootClan, look, if you dread looking at your credit card statements, you're not alone out there. The weight of debt can be crippling, but Upstart, they can help you on your path to financial freedom. Upstart is a fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan, and it's all online, whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating, the high-interest debt, funding personal expenses. Over 1 million people have used Upstart to get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. You can check your rate without impacting your credit score in minutes for loans between $1,000 to $50,000, and you can even receive funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/footballers. That's upstart.com/footballers. Do not forget, use our URL to let them know that we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/footballers.
Hey, this is Patrick Mahomes, quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, and you're listening to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, welcome in. Whew. Was that an exhale, Mr. Moore?
Yeah, I'm just so happy to be here and not be watching that game last night anymore.
Yeah, remember when I whispered it yesterday?
Thank you for the whisper. It did not deserve a football time.
You remember when you mentioned our editor-in-chief, Kyle, got to attend that game in person?
Got to.
I think he saw the first home shutout there for Atlanta in quite some time.
A memory to share with the grandchildren one day.
Yeah, what a special game that was.
Is there anything to really talk about that game?
Yes. Okay. The only thing the only player in the entire game that gave you what you hoped for was not a player at all. It was a defense. It was a conglomerate of domination. The Patriots defense, I don't know what the number is now, because like in the third quarter they're like, it's been 17 straight drives since a score against them, and they then finished the rest of the game and managed to, like, I played them. They outscored Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson and Kyle Pitts combined. So
they were having a fantastic game, and then they fully got a Apple conference. But there's one more thing, and then Josh Rosen comes in and gives them a pick 6. What are they?
And then another pick.
And then they're like, Coach Arthur's like, that out route. That worked pretty good last time. Let's try it with the third stringer. What are you doing?
There's one other thing from this game.
Just run the clock out and accept your loss.
It was horrendous.
Woo!
The hopes for Mac Jones and the offense were predicated on the Falcons scoring points, moving the ball, not hitting their 100-yard mark in the third quarter. That being said, let's discuss briefly the 2 great running back problem.
Yes.
Which is Damian Harris, who's a great runner, Ramondre Stevenson, great runner. Stevenson led the backfield in total yards.
And carries.
Which, again, conclusions, difficult to draw them from a game in which you are dominating.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, Brandon Bolden was the third down back all the time. And there was one red zone carry by this offense, and it was at the 20-yard line by Damian Harris. There was just the way the game played out, neither guy was, like, Damian Harris, I think, is going to get the ball around the goal line. But Ramondre's playing great football.
Yeah, these are 2 absolutely great running backs. The problem is they're going to split the workload, it appears. We talked about the playoff primer. They do not have a good playoff schedule. When you're talking about, bad matchups for the running back position, and now you're splitting it in half, and you've got to deal with the wild, crazy tricks of Bill Belichick game planning specifically for
wild and crazy
for opponent X. I am really I don't want to participate while both are there. I think they are both going to be okay-ish flex options to hopefully get 10 points. You've got the passing work more in favor of Ramondre, and you've got the touchdowns, I think, slightly more in favor of Damian Harris. It's just kind of a gross situation.
Well, if either guy scores last night, they're in the 20-point range. They're getting close to there. They're a defense that is dominant, so there is like a lot of the peripherals that are great for a running back. If it's the thing that I'll say about the Belichick tricks is that if Ramondre fumbles, you might not see him for a while. If Damian Harris fumbles, I don't think it's the same way. The trust that Damian Harris has built, I would still put it in that camp.
Yes.
But if either guy goes down, you have a league-winning running back.
Yes. It's actually really similar to the Broncos situation where you've got the incumbent and the rookie who's good. They're splitting the work 50-50, but the Broncos have one of the best schedules the rest of the way. More fantasy points will go to that backfield.
Okay, it is Friday.
FootClan Friday.
I bet Mike wishes it wasn't Friday because he's got to spin that wheel of shame later. Yeah? How you feel about that, Mike?
Well, I felt great about 30 seconds ago because I didn't remember.
Yeah, yeah. But that's coming later. Right now, we're giving something away. In fact, a Hollywood Brown signed jersey. Congrats to Esther Grandizio Sword.
That's an awesome name.
That's he's the Duke of something.
I feel like that's the name of a sword.
Of a sword?
Yeah,
yeah,
sword.
like Excalibur?
Right, exactly.
I was there with
the Esther Grandizio?
Oh, yeah.
Pulled from the rock?
One heck of a sword.
By the hands of Grandizio.
Okay, all right, you've proven it. Congratulations. You win a signed Hollywood Brown jersey from pristineauction.com. Every week we give something away from jointhefoot.com or to jointhefoot.com supporters. And you can check out pristineauction.com. Use the code BALLERS. You'll get a $10 credit. We talked about the game last night. Let's talk news.
News and notes from around the league. Presented by Sleeper.
All right, I need one of you guys to tell me what to do here because Alvin Kamara was not at practice. Do I hit this little panic alarm button?
Yeah.
So, not at practice on Thursday after being limited on Wednesday. Didn't play last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the timeline for his injury is usually more than one game. I was surprised when he was back at practice on Wednesday, the fact that he was completely DNP on Thursday. This appears to be a downgrade. I would plan to be without Alvin Kamara. If he plays, you play him, though.
This was another surprise, but last night, Alex Collins was downgraded to a DNP. So, Arizona matchup, not the best.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to Rashad Penny and Travis Homer. Those are names that you might have to pick up, and I would like to apologize
and
for.
Penny.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got to plug those guys in, I'm sorry.
Russ struggled last week. The running game's not going to help him potentially in this matchup. Does it downgrade Russ at all to know Collins won't be there?
I'm still just worried about Russell based on how he looked last week.
Kyler Murray was limited again on Thursday, but he has been medically cleared to play. This is going to be his decision. That also came out yesterday. How comfortable do you feel? He's a mobile quarterback. So I think he's going to be out there. That's just the gut I have around here. Do you guys agree with that?
I do agree with that. I think it's his choice. It's a divisional game. He's in the running for the MVP race. He wants to get out there.
DeAndre Hopkins out of practice.
And probably out this weekend.
Pick a Cardinal wide receiver to play.
Kirk.
Okay.
That sounded like a first name.
Yeah, like Douglas was coming next. Like,
nope. Kirk Douglas.
Kirk.
I would agree with you. I think Christian Kirk is the one to pick.
Christian Kirk Douglas.
Yes.
Nick Chubb has been activated from the COVID-19 reserve list.
That's good.
Yeah, we've been waiting for that. Donovan Peoples-Jones did not participate in practice again.
And that's bad.
And he won't play, I don't think. And Anthony Schwartz is limited. And Jarvis Landry finally came back to practice. I mean, if you are looking for a dart throw, I think Hooper and Njoku are in consideration.
Yes, that is
I don't expect you to watch the game after you make that decision.
It's a dart throw for sure.
They're at what, 11-point favorites? Implied point total of like 27 or something? I mean, maybe D'Ernest ends up being more important to the game plan.
Yeah, I definitely think the Nick Chubb news makes you feel like D'Ernest Johnson is, oh, no, now you can't play him. Absolutely, you can play D'Ernest Johnson.
Is there any I mean, we're talking too many darts here, but is there a chance that Demetric Felton ends up catching like –
No, he's on IR.
Is he?
Yeah.
He was on the COVID list.
He was on the
He was activated.
He was
as well.
activated
was
with
he?
Chubb,
Yeah.
All right, I stand corrected.
Ha
Elijah Mitchell, finger, ribs, sidelined on Thursday.
Okay.
Kyle
Michael
Shanahan-
Hasty didn't practice.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan is still saying that he thinks that there's a good chance he could be there this weekend, and maybe he is. I think Jeff Wilson is like, let's say Elijah is active, you can play Jeff Wilson.
I don't know.
That's where I stand.
Last week you couldn't.
Well, sure,
he
but
didn't
they
have
didn't.
a broken finger last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, I mean Elijah Mitchell got 27 carries last week. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen with the broken finger.
I did get concerned. Like, we saw Jeff Wilson wasn't available before. You imagine if Mitchell's out, Sermon will be active, Juszczyk will be involved, Wilson would be the lead back.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
Jeff Wilson will dominate if Elijah Mitchell is out.
Dominate?
Dominate.
Really?
I
Yeah.
tend to agree.
Okay.
Dominate
I do not have that opinion.
in terms of a ton of opportunities.
Gotcha.
20 fantasy points
Wow.
if Elijah Mitchell's out.
Okay. Yeah, I disagree. I think they'll mix and match with Wilson just coming back from injury. Jacksonville's been tough, minus about one drive from Jonathan Taylor the last 2 weeks. Saquon limited in Thursday's practice. Devontae Booker limited as well. Expecting Saquon back.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's a Monday night game, so it's an early practice.
Rob Gronkowski, full participant in Thursday's practice.
All right, so Gronk is back. Antonio Brown will not be, though.
Long way to go is the quote from Josina Anderson.
Oh,
If
man.
you are, I mean, you might not be able to do it, but I've taken the approach now that if you can go trade Antonio Brown to go get something that can help you today, that might be the best decision. It may feel like trading low on him, but that's better than not being able to do anything with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's team dependent, right? If you know you're locked in for the playoffs, I expect he'll be back by then. He had 3 top 10 wide receiver weeks in those 5 games he played. But if you need someone, he's not going to help you now. And also, Bucks, you know that there's this thing called the IR where you can put someone and keep them not questionable on our rosters. You're hurting us.
What else do we have? Dallas Goedert returned to practice on Thursday. Should be playing tight end again.
Yep.
I think people are very disappointed in Dallas Goedert.
I think that if they're disappointed in Dallas Goedert, it's simply because he hasn't been what you hoped at all, right?
That's a good reason to be disappointed.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason to be disappointed in anything.
That's what I'm saying. He's been a disappointment. He has been one of when Zach Ertz left. It was like finally we're gonna get him, and then
Just kidding.
I think didn't he have back-to-back finishes at number 7?
He did in week 7 and 8, but that's 10 points. Like number 7, when you say, oh, he's tight end 7 on a week, tight ends suck.
The expectation was that he could be a dominant force at the tight end position, which means you have to be better than, half the other starters in your league once, maybe.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson didn't practice. Hollywood Brown didn't practice. Rashad Bateman didn't practice. 2 of those are illnesses, Bateman and Lamar. Hollywood is a thigh. Worry about any of them?
I worry more about Hollywood Brown just because the illness by Sunday should be fine, pump him full of fluids and get on out there. But if there is an injury, I mean, we'll just watch, see what the Friday practice report is for Hollywood.
All right. Big Ben team is preparing as if he'll play. He hasn't cleared COVID protocols yet, but this is an optimistic report. Aaron Rodgers says he'll play. He didn't practice due to a toe injury, but he says he'll play. So there you go. Any other news that you guys need to talk about? We'll have the Injury Blitz podcast later this afternoon, Brooksy.
We sure will,
All
but
right.
nothing else right now.
That's a guarantee from Brooks.
Maybe closer to the evening. But
Okay.
on Friday, November 19th, the Injury Blitz podcast will be released.
Thank you. That's all I needed to hear. And you can get that at jointhefoot.com. Game day alerts over there as well. Mike will be with you live
That is correct.
Sunday morning, right before the games. He will tilt on air.
Oh, yes.
They'll be crying.
Oh.
Some spit, probably.
So many tears.
This was today's news and notes, brought to you by Sleeper, the leader in breaking news alerts. Let's get into the forecast.
Fantasy Forecast.
Yesterday, we covered the Colts, Bills, Ravens, Bears, Lions, Browns, Texans, Titans, Packers, Vikings, Dolphins, Tets. That's the Jets, if you didn't.
Oh, yes,
The
of
Saints
course.
and the Eagles. So 7 games left, starting with the Washington football team at 3-6, taking on the Carolina Panthers at 5-5. The DraftKings Sportsbook line here, Panthers -3 at home. Cam Newton's set to make his debut as the starter of a team he was once the starter of. The over-under is 43. That's not very high.
Nope.
Carolina, 70% of their games have hit the under. That is, to me, saying 70% of the time people didn't think their defense was real, and it is.
Yeah, their defense is real, and they had Sam Darnold for a lot of those where the offense just, man, you kept thinking with all the weapons they have, they could score enough points. They couldn't. The hope here is that Cam Newton is the salve that can move the ball, and I do believe that their offense will certainly be better. Now, whether that relates to wide receivers having more fantasy relevance, I'm more skeptical of that, but I do think Cam Newton and Christian McCaffrey can move the ball down the field, score points. I think that both of those guys are just really solid. I mean, obviously Christian McCaffrey is going to dominate because he's Christian McCaffrey, but I think Cam Newton is a solid play this week. A low-end quarterback 1, high-end quarterback 2.
Since week 5, DJ Moore is the wide receiver 41, averaging 7 fantasy points a game. So he is depending on the options play, not a must-start.
Right, but you definitely want to watch how, Cam targets guys. What's the order of operations here? Yeah, I mean, it could be. I'm not opposed to starting DJ Moore. I'm
playing him as a wide receiver too.
Okay, well then that means he's in almost all your lineups.
Yeah, the way this game script at least plays out to me, based on Carolina's favored. They're a great defense. In fact, over the last 6 weeks, they've sustained everything we've seen since the beginning of the year. 7th against quarterbacks, 3rd against wideouts, 9th against tight ends. This does not seem like a game where the Panthers will be in a position where they have to play from behind, where they have to throw the ball a ton. That being said, let's put this Jeff Wilson to the test, Jason, because Antonio Gibson.
I'll take Christian McCaffrey.
Right, that's not an option.
Okay.
Antonio Gibson, 2 touchdowns last week, but they were playing from ahead the entire game.
Yep.
This game doesn't look like that'll be so easy. Would you play Jeff Wilson if Elijah sits, or would you play Antonio Gibson?
If Elijah sits, I would play Jeff. If Elijah is active, I would obviously play Antonio Gibson.
You were big on Jeff this week.
My name is Jeff.
Taylor Heineke and company, Terry McLaurin. He has 3 top 5 games on the year through 10 weeks. Every other game is outside the top 30.
Can we get this team a quarterback, please?
No. I mean,
I know
answer.
not this year, but this is just me asking, like next year.
Well, they did try.
Please.
They did try to do that.
Yeah.
He just got hurt. And McLaurin or DJ Moore in this game?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think I lean DJ Moore.
Terry McLaurin is last 3 games, 12 targets, 7 targets, 6 targets. Man. I think I'm going to lean the Terry side, Mike, so split the difference.
I'll go Terry McLaurin.
I'm switching.
Okay, so three for Terry.
They're both so talented.
It's close, though.
But I do think that the Carolina Panthers will be up in this game, and so there's probably going to be more passing work from the Washington side if that bears out. And this
if that bears out, then J.D. McKissick is relevant.
J.D. McKissick could be relevant. And this is a revenge game for Taylor Heineke and for Ron Rivera. And for Cam Newton in a way. Like this is quite the fun NFL matchup.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Cam performs. I think it'll be he ended his tenure with the Patriots with 5 of the most depressing quarterbacking games in the history of the NFL. So he didn't have Christian McCaffrey though.
He did not,
and that makes a big difference.
And he's fresh. I mean, he's ready to run some people over.
Yeah, San Antonio.
The Spurs.
I love Michael Keaton. The San Francisco 49ers taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jags are 2-7. 49ers are 4-5 after the dominant Monday Night Football victory. Short week. DraftKings Sportsbook line here, 49ers minus 6.5 on the road. Over and under is 45.5 points. Jacksonville games have hit the under 7 of 9 times. They obviously have played some better defense of late. In fact, they're one of the bigger disparities over the last 6 weeks versus the whole year. They're 9th against quarterbacks, 10th against running backs. They are playing some okay football here, and the 49ers will be traveling to Jacksonville. Does it diminish any confidence you would have in the staples on the San Francisco side, which is Debo, Kittle, and Elijah Mitchell if he's active?
No, I absolutely respect the Jacksonville defense. The first half of the year they were someone you targeted. You've got to go away from that mentality. They're not just some exploitable defense where you can have gimme layups at any specific position. They're much, much improved. However, they're also not completely a lockdown shutout. They're not the Bills. They're not a team I'm avoiding, the Steelers, the Patriots, and some of those teams that are known for defense. I'm just kind of happy that they are competing in these games. Not enough to sway me from, obviously not from Deebo Samuel, not from whoever the running back one is, which will either be Elijah if he's active or Jeff Wilson if Elijah is unable to go. But that's and Kittle. Kittle's a no-brainer. So outside of those 3 options,
would you play Brandon Ayuk over Kadarius Toney this week against Tampa?
Ooh, no. I think I would go Kadarius Toney.
Would you play Darnell Mooney against Baltimore, or would you play Brandon Ayuk?
Mooney.
Okay. What about Michael Gallup at Kansas City, high-flying game, or Brandon Ayuk?
Ayuk.
I'd play Ayuk. Yeah.
I think I lean Gallup there. Jeff Wilson, flex-worthy according to Jason, even if Mitchell plays?
Yes, as a low-end flex.
I had to make the decision last night to play Ramondre or Jeff Wilson. I went with Ramondre just out of concern that the backfield will be, if Elijah plays, it'll just be messy and might not see enough. I don't know. Jeff was very limited in his work last week. You guys brought it up, the game plan and the 27 carries. But you also didn't really see any – I didn't see anything that was like, here's a big play.
It's also first game back for Jeff Wilson.
That's why I don't have confidence yet.
But to me, if I don't have Jason's level of confidence, but if Elijah Mitchell is out, then yes, I am in.
Sure.
That Jeff Wilson's a top 15 guy.
James Robinson, you always play him. In fact, he's been a top 12 running back in all of the last 5 games he's played without being hurt.
He is so crazy that James Robinson breaks fantasy football, where everything that you want in your running back, James Robinson, I want my running back who's going to catch, I don't know, at least 4 passes a game. I want someone who's on a high-powered offense. They're going to score a bunch of points. They're going to give this guy a whole bunch of opportunities at the goal line. And somehow this team at 2-7, it just keeps happening, and it gets done for James Robinson. It's baffling.
Yeah, and it's 2 years of it. So
yeah, I'm not betting against it. Just saying how, if you're new to fantasy football, this is not normal.
I'm going to read you. I'm going to tell you a story. Once upon a time, Jacksonville had some wide receivers. Their leading fantasy pass catchers by week: Chark, Marvin Jones, Chark, Chenault, Tavon Austin, Marvin Jones, Jamal Agnew, Dan Arnold, Jamal Agnew. How do you feel about this story?
Queasy. A little sad.
Two thumbs down?
Send back to the editor,
2
please.
thumbs down. The 49ers are a middle-of-the-pack defense. You can throw out an Agnew or a Jones and hope that they're the guy that might get a touchdown. I would prefer to not. I would prefer to sit all of them. You start Dan Arnold because he's a tight end, and there aren't as many other good options to pivot to. And you start James Robinson. I think that's the end of the list. Jacksonville's pretty easy.
Dan Arnold or Dallas Goedert off the concussion?
I'm going to go Dan Arnold.
Yeah, I will too. Tight end 5, tight end 14, tight end 6 the last 3 weeks. Before we get into the Bengals Raiders, want to thank today's sponsors. We're talking about Code Academy, Mike.
Let's talk about Code Academy.
Do you want to change your career? Please. Please just from an equity standpoint, Jason and
I don't want to change, but I would like to upgrade and be better at coding, which you'd be shocked how much coding you need to know for fantasy football.
Yeah, there has never been a better time, actually, to become a programmer. And Code Academy, that's what they do. They teach you how to code, and you can learn on your own terms. Fast-changing world. I always say when I was a kid, all the industries that I could have had ambitions to join, they weren't invented yet. Mm-hmm. And yet here we are with so many opportunities for people who can program and code. And if you want to learn a new skill, build a website, there are 50 million people that have used Code Academy and chosen them as the best way to code. So I absolutely got my son in there who's about to turn 13 to learn. He loves it. And you can join those 50 million people learning to code with Code Academy and see where coding can take you. Get 15% off your Code Academy Pro membership when you go to codecademy.com and use the promo code BALLERS. That's the promo code BALLERS at codecademy.com to get 15% off Code Academy Pro, the best way to learn to code. codecademy.com, promo code BALLERS.
And we want to thank Indochino. People have gotten a little too used to wearing sweatpants during these last couple of years.
Wait a minute.
You're attacking me.
But it's time to replace the suit that's been gathering dust in your closet and bring back a great look in style. There has never been a better time to upgrade your look. Indochino's Black Friday event as their lowest prices of the year on suits, on shirts, on outerwear, and more. Plus, you will save more using the code FOOTBALLERS. I love my Indochino clothing, not just my suit. I've ordered tailored shirts from there. You stop by a showroom. That's the easiest way. Check out, see if there's one in your area. You can even do it at home if you want to take the measurements yourself. But it is so nice, so easy to get actual, perfect, tailored, custom-fitting clothing. It's awesome.
I love my Indochino suit.
And the best part is Indochino suits start at just $299 and shirts from $45 with all the customizations included. I'm telling you, get one for the next event in your life. Get away from the video calls. Get back to looking and feeling amazing. Indochino's Black Friday event, it runs from November 8th to the 29th. Save even more and get $50 off any purchase of $3.99 or more by using the promo code FOOTBALLERS at Indochino.com. That's a $50 off your purchase of $3.99 or more at Indochino.com. Promo code FOOTBALLERS.
Mike, have you forgotten that you have the wheel later? The wheel of shame?
No, I remembered since the last time you brought it up.
I just want to keep you apprised because it is coming soon. The Bengals at 5-4 take on the 5-4 Las Vegas Raiders. Inexplicably, to me at least, the DraftKings Sportsbook line, Cincinnati -1 on the road.
Oh, you disagree.
The over-under is 50.5. It makes very little sense to me. I don't know why Cincinnati's favored.
I can tell you.
Okay. Tell me.
Because when
evenly matched teams in Las Vegas is at home.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder, question, worry how much Henry Ruggs actually mattered to opening up this team. Obviously, they went and got Deshaun Jackson, but it's not the same. The last 2 weeks have been smash matchups.
Right.
The Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants. They put up 14 points and 16 points.
Okay.
So I'm just worried that Ruggs actually mattered for Derek Carr, mattered for the passing game. You can focus on Darren Waller even more right now, and the offense has just been struggling. So when I first saw the line, I was 100% with you, Andy, that I was like, whoa, the Raiders are at home. And then
so this is a trending thing with the Raiders offense.
That's how I feel.
And I did think about taking a dart throw on old Djax this week in this matchup.
Oh, my.
He was out there a little bit more last week, had a catch, I think. Let's talk about it from a fantasy perspective. Joe Burrow is Jason's start of the week. He mentioned it on yesterday's show. So you like this matchup. Obviously, the Raiders have struggled against opposing fantasy quarterbacks. They're favored. So Joe Burrow can get it done here with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and company.
Yeah, and part of that company is C.J. Uzomah, who could easily get a touchdown against the 31st best defense against tight ends.
31st ranked, 31st best. That's not good.
That's not good out of 32.
No. Yeah, but when you say it 31st best, then they don't feel as bad.
Yeah, because somebody might be like, out of 100? And then you're all right.
You're like, no, it's out of 32.
Can you play T. Higgins? Mike?
You can.
Legally, but, I mean, should you?
I mean, he's been strange because the volume is there. You know, since returning from the injury, he's seeing at least 6 targets a game. Had a game in there with 15 targets that did not turn into production. But his yardage totals are to the point where he's like a wide receiver 3 with a good quarterback, and the amount of yards he's put up, he should have more than 2 touchdowns. So yes, I do think that you can play him as a low end 2.
All right, Joe Mixon. He's been a top 4 running back in 3 of the last 4 games. You always play Joe. On the other side, I want to get your without looking, where do you think Josh Jacobs ranks right now in terms of fantasy running backs
on the year?
Yeah.
Oh man, I really don't know. I would guess running back 20.
I'd go lower. I'll go like 24.
25. 25. Yeah. He has not.
You lose, Jason.
The volume hasn't quite been there. A disaster against Kansas City. 7 for 16, no touchdowns. Hasn't scored in a couple weeks. What do you do with this player that generally leaves for a few minutes due to some sort of issue and hasn't been good? The offense, you just talked about the points scored. Like, he has not been able to carry the load. If Ruggs was a key to opening this offense up, Josh Jacobs has not done it.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone that you're probably going to start because he's, but I don't know that he has a great game. The nice thing is when he's been having poor games or has not been smashing, he hasn't been really crushing you other than this past week. He's been getting 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points.
And he's getting receptions too.
Which is crazy.
Yes.
It's taken too long, but it's good to see. I don't know if any of that's from Gruden leaving. We've talked a lot about Josh Jacobs' splits in games he wins. He can get the ball more. Right now they are the underdog. So I think Jacob is someone you just close your eyes and start, and you hope that he falls in the end zone a couple of times, but he'll be okay in the meantime.
You messing around with Derek Carr at home in this one? With the uncertainty at the – I mean, the matchup is all right in the last 6 weeks. 24th against fantasy quarterbacks, the Bengals defense.
Yeah, I'm probably looking elsewhere. I would rather play Cam Newton than Derek Carr.
Kenyon Drake, 32% of snaps. The shoe, I guess, dropped last week. Mike's lack of confidence in the workload. Just 4 for 16. No one could run the ball. Are you messing around with Kenyon Drake at all?
Nope, probably not.
Hunter Renfrow on pace for 98 receptions. He's in your lineup?
Yeah,
PPR
he is.
Great PPR option. They use him around the goal line as well.
And Darren Waller?
Yeah, he's auto.
He's an auto, but the expectations have not been met, huh?
They have not been met, and it does not matter. If he sucks every single game the rest of the year, you will start him every single game the rest of the year.
We have not hit the drop almost at all this year.
Well, maybe that's the problem. Let's get the walrus going.
I forget that on YouTube we have the animation for that one, and that is Mike in the walrus.
No, that is a live dancing walrus.
Oh, that's not you.
No, I would never.
Okay.
Do you think I'm a fool?
Do you want me to answer that or
no?
Okay, but you will be one later when you spin the wheel.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Dallas.
Dallas at 7-2, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 6-4.
Ooh, brother.
The DraftKings Sportsbook line, Chiefs minus 2.5 at home. Over-under is 56.5 points. This, I'm afraid of being too confident in it being
that's
what you want it to be.
That's where I am.
I was on the DFS show, the Fantasy Footballers DFS show that came out today, and we talked about this game, and that obviously there's a lot of history of these super exciting games being a trap, being a disappointment. The defenses step up, But, man, if they don't, this game could get out of control with fantasy points. I am going to err on the side of I want pieces in this game. I want the – you brought up earlier, Andy, that you would take Michael Gallup over Brandon Ayuk. It's because of the matchup. It's because of 56.5 points over under 55 degrees clear weather at Arrowhead. I think that is our first ever weather-related 55.
I find that doubtful.
Yeah, look it up. Prove me wrong. But with Dak and Mahomes, it's just one of those things where you trust both quarterbacks to just get it done. And if they do, if they can go tit for tat, a lot of goodness.
Now, is that tet or that's tat?
Tat, like a tattoo.
Interestingly enough, the Chiefs' defense, number 4 against running backs over the last 6 weeks, an area they've really improved upon. Zeke is in your lineup no matter what, but you said you wanted pieces in the game. Do you want any piece of Tony Pollard?
Not especially.
No,
I mean, I think I would start My Name is Jeff over Tony Pollard, but they're very close to each other.
Kenyon Drake or Tony Pollard?
Oh, Tony Pollard.
Okay. Darrell Williams on the other side. Is he an auto start if Clyde is sitting?
Yep.
All right. And then Tyreek and Amari Cooper always in your lineups, but what do you do? And CeeDee Lamb, of course, who's been, I quizzed you guys the other day. I don't remember what podcast we were on. Maybe it was a Footcast, but
who knows? But
CeeDee Lamb since week 3 has been
the second best. It was Cooper Kupp, then CeeDee Lamb, then Debo.
Yeah. So CeeDee Lamb has been amazing. Should be amazing again in this one. And dart throw wise at the wide receiver position, would you mess around with Byron Pringle?
I don't think I'm throwing the dart. I've got the stance. I've got the dart.
Is that because
perfectly balanced?
Once you pop, you can't stop. So if you put him in your lineup,
I'm hoping
he's stuck there.
I'm hoping that the Kansas City Chiefs make that decision because
it could be DeMarcus Robinson on any given week too.
But we saw Hardman get actively demoted this past week. I need to see at least 2 weeks of that demotion and Byron Pringle being the number 2 guy before I have the confidence to start him in a redraft. If you want to dart throw in DFS, or wait, is this the Sunday night game? No. Okay, yeah. If you want to dart throw in DFS, I'm perfectly fine going with Pringle here. But if you want to stash him and put on the bench for one more week to watch, that's fine.
I'm not playing those games. I know that the targets are all going to consolidate to their main guys, and you still have Andy Reid telling Josh Gordon, just wait, we're going to get you involved. So there's just too many other ways it could go outside of Tyreek and Kelsey to rely on one of them.
Breaking news.
What? I do have I'm gonna qualify it as breaking news. We already talked about the game, but I got an update for Elijah Mitchell.
Oh.
John Lynch, general manager of the 49ers, said he will be a game-time decision.
Uh-oh.
He said Mitchell suffered, quote, the type of finger break they thought he could function with, but surgery might have been different than we anticipated. Lynch said that pain tolerance is not an issue, but he has to be able to function.
My name is Jeff.
We will take it till game time. So despite the strange optimism around the surgically repaired Elijah Mitchell.
That's what I was saying, I don't understand.
If you have Elijah,
how you can function.
Be ready to make a switch. You might not have Jeff. Hopefully, of all the shows in the world, we've told you to stash Jeff Wilson for so long, and sometimes stuff like that works out, sometimes it doesn't. Hopefully, you have him because you've been listening, and that is an easy pivot for you. The question at this,
we got a big sneeze in the back there.
Happened?
That was hardcore.
Is that a gunshot?
Had to sneeze.
Oh my goodness!
Next time, hold it in.
Yeah, man.
His eyes would have exploded out of his head. That was the most powerful sneeze I've ever witnessed.
Are you okay, Brooks?
I apologize, FootClan.
Did you guys did that get spread around when you were a kid that if you if you hold your eyes open and sneeze, they will pop out your head?
I thought you meant what he sneezed could get spread around because this room has got whatever he's got.
Yes.
I felt it hit me in the.
Oh no! Now I've got allergies.
Sonic boom.
Arizona 8-2, traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, who are 3-6. The DraftKings Sportsbook line: Cardinals -2. on the road. Over-under, this it's 47.5. We talked about it in the news section. The running back room for Seattle is hurting. Chris Carson's not going to play. Alex Collins doesn't look like he's going to play. So some combination of Rashad Penny, DJ Dallas, Travis Homer, stay away.
Yeah, it's really, really not good. I don't even know who to recommend starting in a tough matchup. The Cardinals have been a great defense, and I think that this game projects to be more of the divisional defensive struggle, not the offense. You know, I love if you tell me you get Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. In general, it sounds like you're going to have a great offensive outpouring of points, but you've got Russell coming back too early from injury. You've got Kyler coming back from injury. You've got the Seahawks defense having stepped it up over the last 6 weeks. They're top 5 against quarterback, top 6 against wide receiver. And the Cardinals defense is good. So I think this is going to be more of a slugfest. I'm looking at the, if Kyler's in, James Conner seems like the best play in this game.
He's the ultimate confidence play for me is James Conner. The Seahawks, 31st on the year against running backs, 28th in the last 6 weeks against running backs. Feel very confident in the workload, the volume. And you're talking about a running back who leads the league in touchdowns. So he scores in this game, which seems likely.
He's going to, yes.
He just finds a way to do it. Even last week when it was ugly, he found a way to get into the end zone. DK Metcalf.
Yeah, you're still playing him and Lockett.
Yeah, and Lockett.
Yep, I'm still playing Lockett with Russell Wilson there.
What's the last time the Cardinals have been road favorites in Seattle? I mean, that doesn't seem.
Do not know.
Maybe never. I don't even know. DeAndre Hopkins probably going to sit in this one, so Kyler's going to have to get it done with A.J. Green, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore,
Zach Ertz,
and Zach Ertz. So Kyler confidence, does he have the ceiling that you'd hope? Like, would you play him or would you play Justin Herbert against Pittsburgh? Like, who do you think has the better finish?
Yeah, both have poor matchups. I think I would lean Kyler over Herbert, but it's very close. And if you have, by some miracle, another great option, then you have permission to bench Kyler here. But, in the end, the offense for the Arizona Cardinals has been getting it done. They even got it done 1 week without Kyler. So the weapons are there. You just got to trust the talent, even if it's going to be a defensive slugfest.
Returning to Tyler Lockett, let me put you in a position to make a decision here because the name, it wields a lot of power. Tyler Lockett, big games. But let's say you had Devontae Smith. Would you play Devontae Smith this week or would you play Tyler Lockett? Somebody who's been emerging.
Right.
Same with Jalen Waddle. Put both of those guys in there. Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, or would you go to Lockett?
I would go, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the Saints, right?
Yes.
So I think Devonta Smith is going to get Lattimore, so I would go with Tyler Lockett here. If it's a full PPR, then you might want to go Jalen Waddle just because he's been getting so many targets that his baseline is high, and at some point he is going to break a long, touchdown. He's a big play guy who hasn't had many big plays.
I agree.
Asking for a friend, if Devontae Smith's got Lattimore and if Jeff Wilson's starting, who'd you flex?
My name is Jeff.
Sunday Night Football, the Steelers at 5-3-1 take on the Los Angeles Chargers at 5-4. This should be a fun one. DraftKings Sportsbook line Chargers -5.5 at home. Over/under is 47 points. Hope to get Big Ben back. That would ultimately boost your confidence in Deontay Johnson in this matchup. The Chargers, the one area they've been exceptional at defensively is points given up to the opposing wide receiver. They're 4th over the last 6 weeks, 22 a game. Mind you, it's hard not to see 15 of that 22 going to Deontay. So you play him.
Yeah, you're going to play Deontay, especially in any kind of PPR. I take a little bit of issue with you saying this is an exciting one. I feel like watching Steelers football, and I'm a Steelers fan. Like I love Mike Tomlin. I always like when they do well, but goodness, is this a team I just don't enjoy watching. Their defense shuts down the offense, and their offense shuts down their offense. So it's yuck. Now, you talk about the Chargers have been shutting down the wide receivers. That's true. They have been giving up points to tight end. So Pat Freiermuth, who's been involved, I think he is a fine play here at tight end.
The Chargers could be without Bosa.
Oh, that's
right.
And
he's on the
Steelers
list.
will be without Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Right.
Which is, on the back end, it's going to be – over-under is 47 points. So I think that's indicative of some of those limitations on defense. So maybe you'll be wrong. Maybe it'll be fun to watch, Jason.
It's Sunday night, so I sure hope I'm wrong.
Would you – an interesting Tyler Lockett here for you, Andy. Would you go Tyler Lockett or Mike Williams?
Yeah, I think that's tough, but I would go Mike Williams in this matchup. It's brutal. He's been outside the top 44 games in a row, so not 44.
And
but
he's had his quarterback.
Outside the top 44 times in a row. The note I have in here is feels like we need an intervention. We need to get Mike back to being Super Mike.
Yes, come on.
And Mike, I think you as a fellow Mike is probably the guy to talk to him.
I mean, look, if I need to be the spokesperson, the spokes
If you could say something to him right now, what would it be?
Mike, come on.
Oh, that's good.
Come on, Mike.
Okay, all right. Maybe he hasn't probably had that from his.
What? Come on.
Who would you play of those two?
Lockett.
Najee Harris. Austin Eckler.
Can I play him over Lockett?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Najee on pace for 1,000 snaps, 415 touches. Somebody tweeted, I wish if we can get the source on that one. Someone was bringing up, like, is there concern for Najee? Not only are you a rookie, right? You're coming out of not an NFL workload. You've seen this many times before, but you're pushing an inappropriate amount of touches.
Yeah.
And you could break down at the end of the year. You could break down physically from a injury standpoint, or you could simply lose some of that juice.
Yeah, I mean, Najee is a human being, and when you take a ton of punishment, you can get injured. We see that with, Derrick Henry broke a bone in his foot because he's getting so much utilization. I am absolutely not going to do any potential actionable thing based on a fear of overwork. I am going to do the opposite and say I would like him because of overwork. So, I'm not worried about Najee at all.
Okay, we talked Keenan Allen.
Yes.
Since the bye week, wide receiver 15, 7, and 12. You can put him in there for sure. Deontay, like I said, and then you mentioned your start of the week, Pat Freiermuth. You messing with the tight ends for the Chargers, or is it too much of a mess between – look, you've got a real kitchen sink situation here with the Cook and Parham. Yeah.
They really need one more tight end with a food name.
Yeah.
No, I'm not messing with Jared Cook and Donald Parham because there are, the Dan Arnolds and the Pat Freiermuths, the Dalton Schultz. They all look like there are better plays this week.
All right. Ready to move on from this one? Anybody else you want to bring up?
I mean, if Claypool does come back, do you play him?
Nah.
No. Okay.
Nah.
Yeah.
All right, Monday Night Football, the Giants, the Buccaneers in Tampa. Buccaneers are 10.5-point home favorites on DK Sportsbook. The over-under is 49.5 points. That's a big line, which means the Buccaneers have got 30 implied points, the Giants under 20. In the times that Tampa Bay has been double-digit home favorites with Brady, they've covered every spread, and they've scored 38, 45, and 48 points.
Impressive.
Now, Chris Godwin is a real question mark. It could be the same situation as last week.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, as management. I think he showed up at practice today in uniform, but I don't know if he did anything.
Yeah,
maybe just for pictures.
And maybe it's overconfidence, but last week when you have him, it was a lot of doom and gloom throughout the week of he's not going to play. Well, if he plays, he's limited. And then he plays like every single snap. So this is, to me, no practice is necessary for Chris Godwin playing with Tom Brady. They've got it worked out, and then he can go play a full game.
Agreed.
Bruce Arians doesn't mess with injuries. That's one thing you need to know. Like if he plays you, you're good to go, pretty much. Antonio Brown's not going to play. So you're gonna,
correct.
Mike Evans was a disappointment for most of the game, and then he finally got his one big play last week. Ends up the wide receiver 14 on 2 catches. Gronkowski's back.
Yeah,
yes.
He's someone I think, obviously has either been stashed or should be picked up and stashed. I don't know that I would throw him in right away. Last time he got back on the field, he re-aggravated, got injured. So I want to see it once.
Too scared?
I am a little too scared because, again, just like I mentioned with Cook, there are other good tight end options this week.
Goddard or Gronk?
I would go Goddard over Gronk.
I'd play Goddard too. But if those are the guys you're throwing out, if you're starting Schultz, Goddard, the lower tier guys, and you can pick up Gronk because he's on your waiver wire, you should go do that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Stash him and wait and see. He could have a good game, but wait and see. On the other side, I'm really
Leonard
interested.
Fournette, by the way, Mike's start of the week.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's going to have a good game.
Yeah, for sure. The Giants have not been good against running backs at all. I'm very intrigued at the wide receiver core this matchup for the New York Giants in prime time. We hope that Kenny Golladay is actually fully healthy, maybe for the first time this season. It seems like Sterling Shepard, who didn't participate Wednesday or Thursday, might miss. So do you have hope for Golladay? Do you have hope for Tony? It's a good matchup.
I think both are flex-worthy plays, Tony and Golladay in this matchup. You have the Buccaneers. They're missing Richard Sherman now. He's been put on IR. They have locked it down against fantasy wide receivers in the recent history, but on the year they're 19th. I do think that there is some hope here. And it may be just garbage time hope.
Yeah. I think
Mike, where are you? Do you think you can flex both?
Yes, I do. I
Jason?
Yeah, I think you can flex both. And Saquon should be back.
Okay.
So maybe this offense, what does that mean? If you've got Saquon and Golladay and Tony that are, flexible, can you start Daniel Jones?
No, of course not.
Okay, thank you.
I think he's in streaming contention.
Oh, stop.
I do.
I side with Andy. I don't want to do it to myself.
That's fine.
The matchup's bad on the road. Your floor with Daniel Jones is to finish at 30 at the position. That's what takes him off the table, at least for me.
I mean, just historically, Daniel Jones has played well against Tampa Bay.
Okay. You can find all the rankings and start sit tool at thefantasyfootballers.com. Talked about the Elijah Mitchell game time decision. Lamar Jackson is back at practice today. And guess what? Donovan Peoples-Jones with the groin. Back at practice.
I'm back.
Back at practice. So he could end up playing. I don't know if he's playing in my lineup. JoinTheFoot.com is the fantasy football community where you can get that Injury Blitz podcast. Hey, Mike, guess what?
Let's do it.
Guess what, Mike?
Let's do it. Bring it.
It's time.
Fantasy Faceoff, presented by DraftKings.
Much better showing last week for all three of our teams, actually. It was pretty competitive. Ended up 144 to 134 to 129.
DK Metcalf.
Well, he was on my team, and I won.
Yeah.
That's a good counterpunch.
But it is time for me to distribute the punishment to Mike, the Fantasy Hitman.
Wheel of Shame.
All right, before we get to the Week 11 lineups, Mike, why don't you spin that wheel?
And spin.
We've
All
got
right,
lots
so
of
we got,
wonderful shame options for you.
Guy
Leprechaun.
Fury visor, mullet wing. Oh, Grandma. Is that where we're landing? Grandma.
Oh, Grandmama.
Okay.
Do a little Larry Johnson over here.
Okay. So, Grandma, I imagine I will get some spectacles and a wig. Do I get a shawl?
I thought about getting you a shawl, but the turnaround on the shawl is
was too hefty.
Yeah, I just couldn't find a good shawl. You know what it's like.
You do have the beaded.
The pearl necklace.
You do have the beaded glasses, like Yeah, take that hat off, Wolverine, and put on the glasses.
Oh,
what do we got going on here?
I feel like Little Red Riding Hood is on her way to your house.
Someone should have cleaned these up.
We had to extend.
Oh, brother!
Trying to get a necklace over Mike's.
You just made it over the big
You
head.
do have a pearl necklace, which is impressive, and then of course.
Yeah, let me get the wig on. Oh, yeah, we got the grandma bun.
Yeah,
it's like
and a big beard.
This is exactly how I envisioned it.
This is very Red Riding Hood-esque right now.
Yeah.
Oh dear, I'm definitely not a giant wolf.
Your disguise is not fooling anybody.
It's me.
Why don't you tell us the nursery rhyme of your Week 11 team, Mike? Why don't we kick it off with your quarterback as we face one another once again.
All right, at my quarterback.
I do like winning versus losing in this, by the way.
It's much more fun.
At my quarterback, I'm paying down.
Ooh. It worked last week with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, it did. It certainly did. But I'm taking Cam Newton at 5,100 against the Washington football team, opening up that salary a little bit for some other guys.
Yeah, I looked. I did not see him when I made my lineup. I made it a little earlier in the week, and as the week went on, I was like, man, Cam at that value just opens things up. I'm doing the exact opposite. I am paying all the way up. Josh Allen, 8,100.
Oh, you're back. You're back with Josh.
I'm back with Josh. I love the Buffalo passing attack against Indianapolis. I want him. I'm in.
You did it 2 weeks in a row, and then you didn't do it, right?
This week is a disaster. I just want everyone to know that's just.
It's all up in your eyes.
It's everywhere.
You look beautiful, though.
You do.
Really? Is this a good look?
So I paid up for Josh Allen. Got me the W last week. I'm going with Dak Prescott at 7,200. I'm taking Dak in the I'm going to save a little bit of money. Go Dak. I think he could be the number one on the week. So I like that option. Mike, it's time for you and your spindly grandmother wig to share your running backs.
Well, Sonny, I've got like some mid-tier budget running backs.
Mid-tier, but that's a joke. That's sarcasm.
No, I have A.J. Dillon at 6,200
Okay.
against Minnesota, and I have James Conner, who is somehow cheaper than A.J. Dillon at 6,100.
Yes, both great values. You must be spinning up at wide receiver. I spent up for Christian McCaffrey. I want that number one in cash, and he was 8,900 at 5,500.
Okay.
David Montgomery is my running back too.
Okay, I have one of each of your running backs. I have Christian McCaffrey at 8,900 and James Conner at 6,100. Wide receivers, Mike.
So I paid up for the man at 7,800. I got Deebo Samuel in there. As of now, because I didn't know about the thigh injury, missing practice, but Hollywood Brown is currently sitting in my lineup at 7,100. And then I saved a little bit of money here with my wide receiver 3. I'm going with Marcus Johnson of the Tennessee Titans at 3,500 against the Houston Texans.
That sounds like a Travis Kelce's coming. All right, at wide receiver, I've got Amari Cooper. I want a piece of that Dallas-Kansas City game, 6,200. He's just always undervalued. T. Higgins at 5,400. Full PPR should be fine. And Rashad Bateman, who obviously is questionable, but at 4,500. How do you not put him in your lineup?
It's pretty funny because I have different receivers in the same games. I have CeeDee Lamb at 7,600 instead of you have Amari Cooper. I have Jamar Chase at 7,200 instead of Rashad Higgins. And then I have Rashad Bateman. So let's turn to tight end, Mike.
All right, at tight end, I paid down. I'm going with my start of the week, Mr. Adam Troutman, at 3,300. Hopefully the PPR hits.
Excellent. Also, Mike is spending down at every position. He's got 30,000 left over.
That's what it feels
like. I don't know what's coming next, but go ahead.
I have Adam Troutman as well at 3,300.
Well.
Do you really? You both went Troutman. Thank you both. I went David Njoku at 2,900. I had to save some money. I spent up on Chase and Lamb and McCaffrey. So 2,900 Njoku, Detroit, possible limitations at wide receiver.
I get it.
And then Mike, your flex and defense?
So my defense, I'm going with the Panthers. I have that quarterback and defensive stack. We'll see if that works. And at flex, just a little old fella named Dalvin Cook.
There it is.
At 8,200.
You had to spend your money somewhere.
Yeah, I was wondering,
Grandma.
I was wondering where that was.
You're really pinching pennies, Grandma.
That's right. I found a couple quarters in the couch for my flex.
At defense, I'm going a little scary. I paid way down 2,300 for the Vikings at home against the Green Bay Packers. Hopefully without Aaron Jones and with still recovering from COVID. I hope the Packers offense looks more like they did last week. And at flex, Myles Gaskin at 5,700, PPR machine against the New York Jets.
And I had to save money in both of these spots. So I have the Jets defense at the same price of your Vikings. They're at home against the Dolphins. And then I have Rashad Higgins at 3,200, wide receiver. That was with the anticipation that Peoples-Jones would miss the game. So
understandable.
Grandma pinching pennies in the fantasy face-off. And a reminder, you can download the DraftKings app right now. Use the code BALLERS. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. That's the code BALLERS only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. A minimum $5 deposit is required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Any final words from you, Brooksy? Any important lessons you want to teach the Foot Clan before we close?
Nope.
Any money-making tips?
Oh, I've got a hot tip. If you want your couch to always look its best, cover it in plastic.
Ooh.
And never remove it.
And you eat dinner at what?
It removes all comfort. Oh, well, I eat dinner at 3:30, but on a television stand.
On the couch?
On the plastic couch. But that couch will never be stained.
Thank you, Grandma.
You're welcome.
You can catch Grandma on Sunday Live 1 hour before. You do have to wear that on Sunday Live. You didn't know that? That would be tough.
This wig is just slightly under torturous levels.
Is it because of all the different hairs?
It's the hairs everywhere, and it is real itchy.
Okay.
It looks from a distance. It looks so itchy.
What's funny is when I got it, I believe it comes with like a bald cap thing that you're supposed to put on before the wig.
That makes sense. That does make sense.
Do not apply wig directly to head.
You just got an itchy head.
I think I'm going to have a rash.
Do you feel shame? I mean, that's the important thing. A little bit?
Never. Goodbye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.